We're back live here on KJAGradio.com, KJAGradio.com, and we are going to go to Chris Nordman. He is going to join us here in just a few moments. The Chris Nordman Trio is going to be the topic, and I believe we might be joined by Chris Nordman. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm great.
Welcome to the program here. We are going, we're going to be chatting today with Chris Nordman about the Chris Nordman Trio. We're going to play some of his songs and chat a little bit about this jazz artist. But before we get into everything with Chris Nordman, we are going to, I guess, bring the bunny in, and God knows what this is going to be like. So we will see what happens here on KJAGradio.com. And so Chris, first of all, tell us about how we can connect with you and your trio and everything online.
Well, we have a website, which is chrisnordmanband.com.
Okay.
And we're also on Facebook. And,
Hi.
There's the bunny.
Hey.
There's the bunny right on cue. Chris, okay. So if people want to download your songs or find your music, how do they do this?
We're on Spotify. We're on Pandora. On our website, they can download and stream from there. There's all the links on our website, chrisnordmanband.com.
Fantastic.
And if they join us, Chris Nordman Band on Facebook too, then we're updating videos and live streams and free stuff and that all the time. So.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the High Wire album. You guys have a really great album here. Tell me and the bunny, who has just now joined us once again, a little bit about the High Wire album.
High Wire is it's kind of a culmination of and I'm not a terribly young guy, but of things that I heard during the 1960s and 70s growing up. My brother-in-law Phil gave me I don't know if you even have seen these, but they're not in existence. I don't have mine. It's a Bell tape player, which was a huge cassette.
Wow.
This big. It was Bell or Bell and Howell, I think it was, but a division of that. And some of the tunes, some of the things from Joe Zawinul and Eddie Harris, like Cold Duck Time, that's on the album, were on these tapes. And this was kind of predecessors before the vinyl LPs got really big again. So
yes.
And as a young teenager, I would sit in my basement. Phil gave me this tape player and some of these tapes with his jazz, and I had not listened to any jazz before. He was a jazz aficionado, and I was just taken by this music, and then went through. Like a lot of people do, I was classically trained, and then went rock and roll and everything else, and I still do all that. But this music was something that just really touched me when I was younger, and I've always wanted to put together a group where I could actually record some of our interpretations of some of these things and share them with everyone. So that's what we did, finally.
That's awesome. Chris Nordman with us today. He's got the Chris Nordman Trio. And so, Bunny, do you have any questions? This is, after all, your show.
I know. There's always something with this.
There's always something going on with you.
But, Chris, I was listening to. Are you still there?
Yep.
What happened, guys?
Yep.
We are.
We're still here.
Okay.
We're still here listening to you.
I don't see. Okay, there you are. Yes. So, I think this is wonderful. When exactly did you decide to just go ahead and bring this back?
Well, it's been brewing for years, but when everything started to shut down, I live in Florida now, and I'm from Michigan originally, and been going back and forth and playing with groups in the Midwest and down here in Florida. And I was in Florida at the time when all the COVID stuff started to shut everything down, even here in Florida. And as things shut down, a couple of the friends that I had been working with down here in Florida, who played on the trio album, I just said, "Hey guys, some of the stuff we've been talking about and working on, let's go in the studio and just lay some tracks down and see what happens with it." And it started just as a whim, and we recorded it in late March. In fact, they had curfews here in Florida, when everything just came to a screeching halt. And so we were going to the studio at night and then sneaking home after the studio sessions because we were supposed to be home at 10 o'clock. But we had a great time doing it, and it's actually very live because we recorded everything pretty much was 1 or 2 takes. The album is all live stuff. There's a little bit of overdub where I might have had some organ overdubs on some of the piano tracks, but basically everything is just like you would get in a live setting, but we did it in a studio, so it's got pretty nice quality to it, we think, and we're real happy with it.
I was listening to, I went and grabbed a few of them before we got on there, but so Chris, I was just going to ask, over the years, like on a more personal level for you, like what have you noticed, the different changes? I mean, this isn't obviously our first struggle, COVID, but as a musician, what other, I guess, not necessarily pandemics, but other trials that you've,
Well, there's a lot of, one of the things, fortunate for me being a full-time musician and being in the production business, I've been in the special events business basically all my life. And with things shutting down, and they still are very shut down in a lot of areas. I don't know how they are exactly in Kansas. I know in Michigan, I have so many of my musician friends that all they're trying to make a living because they can't go out and play anywhere as far as the clubs and the kind of normal things that they would do for live audiences, is they're trying to make a living streaming, and boy, it's tough for them. We're fortunate down here. I have a couple of groups, and one in particular that are variety bands, and the things have been reopened down in Florida for a while. So I'm going out. We played with this group quite a bit back in November and December, and some of the jazz clubs have kind of clammed up again, but at least musicians can go out and actually play, because we miss playing to live audiences too. Even it's wonderful to do things in the studio, but to be able to go out and connect with a live audience, it's something that we all really desire. Plus the income from it is important for most all of us that are working musicians. So.
Yeah, us fans, we hunger for it too. So we love to see you guys just right in front of us. That's excuse me, a little bit choked up this morning.
Uh-oh.
But that's, we're having kind of the same issues here as well, where it's, they've got the struggles of not being able to get out like that. So, maybe do you see like that's kind of where, a lot of the industry is going?
Well, a lot of people, what it's created for a lot of musicians is the ability to be able to create streams and different platforms that are out there. We're fortunate with having, and not everybody has the connection with the radio community. We've been very fortunate that we're actually getting airplay now with this album on a couple hundred stations in the U.S. and Canada, and hopefully some in Europe coming up. But not everybody has that kind of opportunity. So to be able to have their music out there for folks to be able to access it and listen to it, and to maybe get some revenue stream from it. Yes, I think there's going to be more and more. We're still seeing things, even some of the festivals and conventions that happen that are entertainment and music oriented, are still going online for early this year. So I think and hopefully down the road, there will be a combination of the live events along with streaming, and it'll all work together as things start to open up again.
Well,
so as far as
yeah, go ahead, Lena, because I want to get some of his music
so
in
as
here.
far as, do you have any concerns though with how, I mean, with this process? I mean, I see it going really well, but I mean, as far as security and to being able to meet those goals with it bringing in this revenue with the streams, like, because you don't see any like the piracism or filter.
Well, there are a lot of I know a lot of my friends are having difficulties with that because they can build an audience, but I think people are a little bit freer when they're going out to a live event or to a venue to be able to, and it's the same thing with the restaurant part of the business and the bar part of the event, all of these things together, where people are a little bit feel better about going out and doing events and participating in events live, even as the consumers. And it's difficult. I know there's some just wonderful musicians out there, and they're trying to do weekly streams or a couple times a week and whatever. And your fans have to be so loyal for them to put things in a PayPal or a Venmo or whatever in a tip jar, which is basically the way that folks, if they're streaming, can actually the musicians can get paid there, because there's not really a great mechanism for reimbursing them on the live streams. I mean, there are YouTube and some others. There's fractional things, and those of us that are in the business understand that the huge numbers that you have to have before you get much monetization out of those kinds of things. So.
Well, I mean, I guess a good thing too is, with it being like this, is you can actually, if you kind of look at, the map there, if you want to you could kind of monopolize on that, actually, the band themselves, because if there's nobody going out, you guys can kind of hit up that area and say, look.
Well, we're fortunate. That's one of the reasons I'm in Florida and staying down here, is because I've been.
Well, Florida's nice. You're so lucky.
Yeah, and there's so many outdoor venues and things that we have some friends that are in the restaurant business up in Michigan, and they're trying to do things in the middle of the winter with outdoor, put a tent up or put some little pods up with heaters in them, but it's hard for people to really feel good about coming out and when it's 0 degrees and to sit in a little shelter with the heater that might be 30 degrees or whatever there. Whereas in Florida, we're fortunate that we have outdoor venues to play, and people can go out and be comfortable.
And so, did I miss it already, you guys? Did you say where else that we could catch some of your stuff, Chris, and log on to? Our website
has links to most all of the streaming services, because we're available that you can stream our music, for free, or if you're a subscriber on Spotify. There's a couple of different YouTube channels, and CD Baby obviously puts all the whole that we have this manufacturing, so they have their own YouTube channel. So everything is available on YouTube too for free for streaming. And then you can go on the website, and it's got some links where you can actually, if you want to purchase a physical CD, it's on there, and it's chrisnordmanband.com.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to play some of your music here. What is something from Highwire that we need to be playing, Chris?
Well, the things that many of the stations really like, Cold Duck Time is one.
Okay.
Highwire.
Then
there's a story behind it. You can ask me questions about that, why, but and it's a great tune that Eddie Harris wrote, but Eddie Harris and Les McCann they did at Montreux Jazz Festival back, I think it was in '69. It was in the late '60s.
Yes.
They did it live. They played it at the festival the first time without rehearsing it. The band did at the festival.
Wow.
And and many people over the years have picked it up, even though, and we did our own take on it. It's a little bit different. And High Wire, the title track is my bass player Ward Dummigan brought that tune to me probably 5-6 years ago, and it's a very little done tune. It's a wonderful tune. Errol Garner wrote, and it's little different than what most people think of Errol Garner's music as. Okay. And one of the reasons we picked it up is because I thought it was a really cool tune, and nobody else has recorded it with their own take on it. And
well, then
we're go from there.
Then we're going to do this. We are going to play High Wire, and then we will be back, and I'm going to place you guys on hold, and we will be right back here on KJAGradio.com. It's High Wire. That's High Wire. That is High Wire by the Chris Nordman Trio. And we are going to go back to Chris Nordman and the Bunny. God knows what the hell they're going to be talking about. But We are back live
Cincinnati.
here.
Oh, there he is.
So, Chris, tell me and the bunny here a little bit about cold duck time. This is a hell of a deal.
Yeah, cold duck time. Well, cold duck still exists. Cold duck is a drink. It's a wine-based drink that started was developed by a fellow that owned the Pontchartrain wine cellars in Detroit. And they used to make a drink, and it came from German tradition, I guess, where they take the dregs out of the barrels or whatever, and you would mix it with a less expensive wine and they called it cold. That's what they called it, cold duck. And it was a very popular drink in the 60s and 70s for a lot of people. And I'm guessing, I've never heard, so this is not, and no scholars have done this, but I'm thinking that it was written as a break tune, maybe. The band's going on break, and it's cold duck time. Now we're going to have a little bit of cold duck on the break. So, because you heard a lot of musicians use the taste time or whatever to go have a little drink on the break or whatever. So, but cold duck that's where cold duck came from. And it's
cold duck
Andre
is really
and
good.
I'm not advertising for anybody, but there are some manufacturers that still.
I'm sorry, the bunny's gonna say it. I know, gotta get them sponsors wherever. But it's so good. No, Chris, that is. Or I was gonna ask too. Do you have a little bit of German in your background? A little bit.
I do. Yes, mostly German. Yeah. Even though it's more of a Scandinavian name, but German and a little bit Irish and a little bit other stuff. But yes.
So yeah, but cold duck was familiar in my household. I mean, when I was growing up, my father's side. But that's awesome. That's the first that I've heard of that song though was today for that.
Yeah, and it's a great tune, and we do. A lot of people just play through it, but we did it with all the stops. So it's and it's jumping.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We were talking about some of the other ones, Jiggy. We were talking about Preacher, and that was, I really liked that one.
The Preacher is Horace Silver wrote it as more of a bop tune, so more of an up tempo tune. So a lot of people that recorded it played it, at a pretty quick tempo. We slowed it down so it's more of a swingy, and you can actually dance it if you wanted, almost ballroom dance kind of stuff to it. But it's got more of a nice bounce to it, so it's happy feeling as opposed to just manic, which some of the bop stuff gets so fast. So a lot of what we did with this whole album is to make things kind of positive and feeling like no matter what kind of music you like, is that you're gonna toe tap and bop around to it and enjoy it as makes you feel something. So.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Kind of flow right through.
You have some incredible music here, Chris, and I appreciate you joining us today. And thanks for doing this, my friend.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
And
wonderful.
But before we let you go, how do we find you online and get your stuff and everything else?
Yeah. Again, thank you for asking. It's chrisnordmanband.com is the best place to go. We have links to everything where you can purchase the physical CD, stream it for free, all the links to be able to get it on any of the services that you want. We also have a Facebook page that's Chris Nordman Band as well. And
fantastic.
And we appreciate your support. Appreciate your support of all live music. It's just wonderful, your show.
Definitely. Well, thank you, and
thank you.
We will talk to you soon. Thank you, Chris.
Great.
Appreciate it, brother.
Take care, and thanks again. All right.
There he goes, Chris Nordman. It's cold duck time, and it's here on KJAG.com. That's it. KJAGradio.com. Chris Nordman Trio.